sitting up at the counter of a walk-in shop, greeting the client that walks in. Like I'm up in rotation, greeting the client that walks in, talking to them about the design, giving them a quote, doing like a little doodle on some printer paper just to get us going. They say yes, we get their ID, and I say, okay, cool. I'm going to head on back and get set up for you. Oh, you're doing the tattoo?
Hello, my darlings. Hello, this is Micah Riot, and this is another episode of Ink Medicine Podcast. Today is December 23rd. This episode is late because, honestly, I did not feel like doing a whole lot this week. I worked a lot, tattooed a lot. Finally, Sailor, my apprentice, tattooed herself last night. It was a really exciting moment for both of us. But the show must go on, so here we are with an episode where I interview Amy Zager. Or if you follow her on Instagram, she is Painterly Fiend. Amy does incredibly bright and colorful and dynamic work. I see her work on my clients, and I see my clients in her chair. We have complementary styles that a lot of people who like my work also like her work and vice versa. What she does is commonly called watercolor, but I think it's time for us to develop new language to talk about tattoo styles that don't fit into the traditional norms. Amy is a pansexual femme, a mom, an award-winning artist. She was on Best Ink Season 3 back in the day, and that's kind of what jump-started her career. You'll hear us talking about it on the pod. She's just the sweetest person. She has a really cool studio. She really has an eye for decorating in bright colors. Her aesthetic is similarly bright. Imagine a femme action figure with muscles and pink hair wearing a galactic pair of overalls and like the sweetest, kindest face. That's Amy. It was really fun to talk shop and industry with her and gossip a little bit. And I hope you enjoy our conversation. How long have you been tattooing?
I got into my apprenticeship 13 years ago. I was able to go full-time and leave like my day job gig work. I was a dog walker. It was wonderful. I was able to leave that about 6 or 7 months into my apprenticeship. I graduated. So I've been tattooing for a little over 10 years now, like full-time legit artist.
And were you here in the Bay the whole time?
No, Chicago.
Okay. I feel like there was a moment when I started seeing your work on my clients, and I'd be like, who did that? And they're like, Amy. And like, where's Amy? Here in San Leandro. Like, you were in San Leandro before, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, because people were like, and I was like, who is this person? Like, I've never, like, I'd not seen your work until I did, you know? And then I was like, it was everywhere.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's, as long as the clients say good things.
No, totally.
They all,
no,
I
were
love
like,
sharing
this person's super
too.
lovely.
Oh.
Because I do some of this, not quite as bright, like all bright as you, but I do painterly work as well. So I think people are attracted to our aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would keep seeing people who would come to me for my type of watercolor with your kind of watercolor. I don't know, how would you, tell me, how would you describe your work maybe in industry terms, but also client terms? What's your category?
I do have, I would say, an illustrative approach. These days it's leaning a little bit more towards realism. It really is a great question. I'm not entirely sure. I would say super saturated, bold. My work these days leans towards larger compositions. illustrative realism with kind of like a painterly watercolor vibe.
What do you think about the blanket term watercolor?
Oh, it does. It covers so much, right?
Well, I feel like it's like what people think of as when they think of painterly tattoo work.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen some wonderful watercolor work. Like when you said we've like had some client overlap, I've seen your work. And then I only know on Instagram, but I think Graphic Ward or Graphics Ward in SF.
There's a few. I don't know them.
And on Instagram, Why Me Genius. I think Brittany, who is in Oakland. And just off the top of my head, some names that like are consistently doing abstract, like hyper colorful, also leaning like graphic, minimalist. There's such a range for that. And that's just in like artists that jump to the top of my head that are doing it in like this one little corner of the world. Watercolor has like, there's some misconceptions about it, I think, in terms of how to approach it. Like bad watercolor, you can always kind of identify when it's healed with it being really washed out, and kind of like the Nickelodeon Splat logo comes to mind, where it doesn't really have much flow to it. Versus good watercolor, which can still encompass so many styles and aesthetic approaches and subject matter, of course, and like also non-representational, but would always be saturated and true to the media that it's trying to recreate, with flow and a sense of gravity and good composition on the body, and full saturation, of course, because that's like tattooing 101, black saturation. Have a tattoo.
It's a formula. Black. Yes. It's like if you watch any Ink Master, you'd be like, that's the formula. So my apprenticeship was very informal. I was just thrown in. It was like, go ahead, ask some questions, whoever's around.
That can be amazing to give you so many resources, and also like really freaky, because how do you know even what to ask early on?
Just whatever shows up, right?
Yeah.
Or you'd be like one time I was like, should I tattoo this ear? Like, I'm so new.
Like the cartilage?
Like the cartilage, yeah. And my my teacher, who was here and there once in a while, would show up at the shop. They were like, yeah, it's skin, just tattoo it. You're fine. If it's skin, you can tattoo it.
How'd it go?
Fine. It was, I mean, for me, it was just like, people were happy no matter what I did. And that gave me confidence.
Nice.
And I feel like, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like each generation brings the quality of tattooing up a lot. Like, not just a little bit, but a lot. And so people who taught me were good for their time. But in the current pool of what's good, they're not good. You know what I mean?
And the kids these days, the apprentices that are coming up right now.
How fast they get it. I don't know. Like, why do you think it works that way?
I think like you said, that like with every generation we get new technology, we can like refine the information.
But do we
and
though?
Approach.
It's the same shit. I still use coils.
The pigments have improved.
Pigments are better. But we've had Eternal when I was starting out 15 years ago.
Yeah. My mentor also used Mom's and Talon's drawing ink, which was fine. Like, I've seen those things, seen those tattoos, and they are still there.
Yeah.
I think along with the understanding, kind of the design for it, it is a multifaceted way that things are improving. I do wonder if just having the internet has expanded so much inspiration, and you can so rapidly get new influences, whereas maybe before you had the tattoo industry magazines and you had your mentor or whoever, the handful of shops that maybe were in your town. And now that's like I just came back from Austin, Texas, where I took a one-on-one seminar with an artist I've been following for ages, who's from Venezuela, and like it was, I never would have really known about this person, or much less how to access their knowledge were it not for Instagram, really.
Yeah. No, I think I agree that there's just more to look at, and so we're more inspired. But I think there's something in the air.
Yeah,
Like there's literally something different about
it does seem that way.
chemistry in the air, like the biology of the new apprentices, you know? Like I
Can I
look
say
at,
it's women and queers?
yeah, you can say that.
It's women and
I
queers.
think that's what it is.
I
hope
think
so.
there's this like creative spirit freedom that's
Yeah.
pushing art within it.
Yeah.
And clients are looking for that. Like, I can't tell you how many clients write me that like, I'm so glad I found someone that I already just from social media feel like I'll be comfortable with. I'm sure you get a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
So having those people having that trust lets us push designs, try new things, you know, within like reasonable boundaries of like, we know it's going to be a successful design.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think client trust is also an aspect there as well.
Have you had an apprentice yet?
We, at the last studio I was with, we had an apprentice who I cannot claim as mine, but it was me and one other person working in the studio at the time. So there was a lot of tag teaming. Mm-hmm. I liked mentoring.
Yeah. Would you do it here?
Maybe. Final answer, maybe.
What would it be? What would it depend on?
Honestly, my mental bandwidth.
Yeah.
I'm a mom and
Okay.
I travel so much.
Okay.
I am like nearly maxed out at my capacity to like physically be here every day and still spend time at the gym and doing things that like fulfill me outside of this space. And like as fulfilling as being a mentor can be, I want to be in a position where I can do it the way I want to and give it 110% of me, because like balls to the wall with everything, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, watching your Instagram, I'm like, what pronouns to use? I'm sorry.
She, her.
Okay. I was like, oh, she's like traveling, doing conventions, tattooing clearly a lot. Like you just seem so busy and like the sports that you do too. And I'm like, how old are you?
36. God, why do I need to think about that?
Oh, yeah, we have to think about that these days. I'm about to turn 40, so I really remember where I'm at. But I'm just so tired recently. You know, like the last few years, I've just been like, my capacity for most things is just lower. And maybe it's the pandemic, like the news of the world, all the stuff, you know, but I'm
There's
just
some
like
heavy
amazed.
shit out
And
there.
your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a lot of heavy shit happening that like, I don't know, this tattooing is my happy place. I look forward to coming to work. I'm like excited on a Sunday night knowing that I not like have to come in for work or I have to do homework for the next day. I get to. And I feel like as long as it feels like that, it's right. No matter how busy and how like crazy it is. But yeah, keeping up through the pandemic, it chipped away at a lot of us, didn't it?
And I think it shifted our energy levels in this way where, you know, it was like, okay, I was really unhappy not working. I was just like, every day is the same,
It was miserable.
you know? And then when I went back, I was like, oh my God, I get to like see another person, talk to another person and
Yes.
tattoo them. And so that was amazing.
It's like
I
it's
was
not just an
doing-
identity or a
Yeah.
job or an identity. It's such an outlet as an artist.
Yeah,
who
in
does
so many ways, all the ways. But I was like tattooing one person a week at first because I was starting with my regulars before they really let us start.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't anymore. And I couldn't afford to not anymore.
Well, I mean, we were still, as an industry, we were still shut down long after all of the loan deferment had ended, and after the additional unemployment income ended. Like all of these programs ended, and not every industry was cleared to open here in California, and that's fucking insulting.
Yeah. Also the fact that they wouldn't let us get our vaccines while letting like servers at restaurants get their vaccines, like we also have to work, you know, and like we also work with people. Like why are we not priority? Like I get it, we're not medical workers, but they let other service workers get their vaccines. Yeah.
We're a job with bills to pay.
Right.
Let the people get the stuff that will keep us all safer.
It's funny that they would regulate us to the tune of $1,500 a year or whatever it is for the health department fees, but not actually give us, right, like the freedom to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was insulting.
It was really complicated. I am very progressive. I lean heavily liberal. I don't think that's any mystery. Oh my God, were my feelings around the pandemic complicated. And then I have a partner who, like, early on, we didn't really understand the virus. My partner was a kidney donor. So my partner's hanging out with like one kidney and this like mysterious disease that's having people in the hospital and dying in like these maddening numbers. And then like, okay, how do I walk between like, I need to be able to work, like, or I will just mentally crumble, shrivel up, and then physically die.
Yes.
But also with like, how can we do this communally, safely, when the mask mandates were a thing, especially before the vaccines were released, and just having people willfully, belligerently not wear a mask. Like, if you don't want to get vaccinated, okay, fine, but like, can you keep the next person safe?
People don't care about other people. Most people don't care about other people. We do.
Yeah.
Like, this is a profession where
you have to.
You have to.
You have to.
But during that time, yeah, like I was working when they let us work again. I was working, or like before they let us work again, I was working on like one person a week and then 2 people a week and then, 3 people a week. And then I was like, this is great. Like if I get to take all the time in the world to like draw and hang out with this person and not be in a rush to my next appointment.
Yeah.
And so it created this, so it created this week for me where now I'm like working, I have 2 days where I work a full day, like 2 clients, and then 2 days where I work half days. And that feels like a soft life. It's nice. But then I'm like, oh, but I could make more money. Like I could get more clients, but then I'd feel more at what cost. Yeah, I know.
And your clients appreciate having you fresh and fulfilled. Mm-hmm. You can't put a price on that.
No. How much do you work?
I would typically work 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. I do occasionally pick up a weekend. I keep an after hours weekend rate for clients who just couldn't take off like the kind of 9 to 5, I call it the daycare hours that I need to work within. When I travel, that all goes out the window. Oh my God. I've done guest spots where I've worked 7 days straight and just like blissfully. But in that time, it's super recharging because when I do those guest spots, I arrange with my partner. We've got like childcare stays back here. I go solo, and it's like, it's refreshing to just feel like it's an artist retreat, I guess. And I'm doing nothing but focusing on that craft. Mm-hmm. So like, I guess, like recharging can look like all sorts of different things. It can look like diving full body into what you're doing, and it can also look like pacing yourself. Mm-hmm. And those two can exist like simultaneously,
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what recharges you. Right?
Yeah. Different things at different times too.
So what about the sports? Like what sports do you do?
Powerlifting.
Okay. Where do you do that? Since we're both in Oakland, like, where do you train?
Yeah, I trained for a really long time with Jesse Burdick. He is a wonderful human. I was in Dublin, California, since the pandemic and like kiddos entering school and everything. I'm just kind of flying solo. I have not competed since just before the pandemic. Again, like I've found so much bliss in work that I just don't have bandwidth to like run through a super intense training cycle. Yeah. But oh my God, powerlifting is so much friggin' fun. Mm-hmm. So much fun. What?
So you have a setup at home?
I do have a setup at home. Okay. And utilize the finest 24-hour fitness in Castro Valley on a pretty regular basis.
You live in Castro Valley?
Yeah.
Okay. I go to Brightside Barbell, which is a CrossFit. It's a CrossFit gym, but it's like heavy emphasis on lifting.
Yeah.
Because Brooks, the coach, is competes, and very passionate about powerlifting. So we do have a platform in the back that they just built. It's a pretty new gym. It's been like 2 years since they opened it. But I've been following them around for about 4. Because I found them at another CrossFit gym and was like, you're cool, you're queer, I'm going to follow you. So I just followed them around.
This
and
is
then
the way.
Finally opened their gym and now I'm there.
Oh, Radically Fit in Oakland. I've visited them a couple times. I was supposed to do, I think, a deadlift fundraiser. I ended up, I think, getting sick the day of the competition, but the fundraising went like wildly well. I know they're another good one to follow.
Cool. Yeah, no, I know. It's the queer gym. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a few queer gyms in Oakland. Yeah, they're cool. They're cool. Totally love what they're doing. I need to feel like I'm dying when I'm working out.
Yeah, same.
And they're very kind to their clients.
Yes. That is such a good way to put it. They're like, you're getting the strength training, you're getting like a gentler programming. And then if you're someone who just wants to drop set till death, find that space. Yeah, find that space. Yeah. It's probably CrossFit.
Yeah. And it's very, very queer and very just cool folk, you know.
You'll link them in the podcast, right?
I will link them in the podcast, but also specifically to you if you're interested.
Yay, yes.
You could also do drop-ins there too if you wanted to. Perfect. And they do competitions as well. Once in a while.
I do miss CrossFit. When I travel, I drop into CrossFit gyms. It's the best hour of the day. You just like turn your brain off. You listen to someone, what they tell you to do, and then you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't do it on my own. I have to do it. Someone else tell me to do.
And the community energies and like cheering you on to max out, cheering the next person on to finish the WOD. It's great energy.
Yeah. Yes.
A good gym has great energy.
Yes, it's true. I've been to many, and this one's one of the better, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so back to tattooing.
Okay, sorry, yes.
No, this is good. I want it to be a portrait of your full self, not just this one part of you, though. It's a big part. How did you find your style? Or do you remember when that started to be primarily what you started to do?
Right around the end of my apprenticeship, there were some new styles coming out. I guess the end of my apprenticeship kind of overlapped with Facebook becoming, it was starting to be used for businesses and people networking who weren't just like, you had to have a .edu email, and then Instagram, and started to see tattoo artists from all over the world. And I still remember finding watercolor work and just being like, oh my God, this stuff is so different and it's so pretty and it's so colorful. I want to do it.
Do you remember who it was or like?
Justin Nordine for sure was one of the
first.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And I got tattooed by him over the summer.
Oh, really?
Where? It's on my shoulder. I have my bear.
It's so clearly him. Like,
right?
It's so, it's so obvious.
Quintessential. I have a perfect Nordine. It healed great.
Nice.
Some shit was talked about putting such light colors up on like the very top of my trap, so I have to sunscreen it like mad. Because I'm part native and get very, very rich pigmentation in the summer. So I have to take very good care of that. Okay, I've been following, sidetrack, I've been following Justin's work for so freaking long, and just, especially in the last, maybe, 5 years. When did he come out?
As queer?
Yeah. It was only a handful of years ago, or more than that.
And polyamorous also.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 5.
So, I just, that totally sealed the deal, and the energy that he puts out on social media, and the consistent style of the work and the color and the layering and the geometry, I love all of it. And got an appointment, flew into Denver, drove 4 hours to Grand Junction, and that saying of never meet your heroes.
Yes.
This was the opposite of that. As 180 from that, I felt so comfortable and well treated. I fell asleep while getting work done. I was that comfy and safe, and the conversations that we had were great. The nap was great. The tattoo is great. His whole, I cannot speak highly enough of this dude.
And it was all in one session?
Yeah.
It's a big piece.
Like 6.5 hours actually under the needle over like an 8-hour day.
Okay.
Yeah. Lunch breaks and snack breaks and
Yeah.
stuff. Right. Other watercolor artists. And like, I know everyone on Instagram, like just by their little thumbnail, and like, I have ADHD, so I don't really read names out loud in my head. They're kind of just like a
I mean, I'm not even like asking specific folks, but like when you started, I did kind of ask that. But when you started finding, like, I remember when, you know, when I first started seeing work that looked different from the trad work of West Coast, it was on Tatrix. Do you remember that blog? Did you ever look at that blog?
Yes. I'm having like the weirdest ATTX.
TATTRX, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Memory unlocked.
Yeah. It was like my go-to. I was just like poring over it, being like, I want to do all this work. Like, where are these people? It was like Berlin,
Europe,
Brazil,
yeah,
Russia, also Poland. Like, I mean, there's still kind of a lot of where a lot of cool people are. Like, really
Italy has a bunch.
Yeah,
doing that really interesting stuff.
But it was. I talked to Morgan on the podcast, Morgan English, who started that blog. At some point, you should listen to that if you haven't.
Yeah, I'll have to go back.
Yeah, they're a really interesting human. But so she's not a tattoo artist, but she like created this job for herself where she was like putting really cool work out there when Instagram wasn't really a thing yet. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but that's where I found my first like watercolor, my first abstract work, my first just like more artistic tattoos that look different, you know? So I was just curious, like, did you find it through those same channels or?
Yeah. God, there's probably other spaces that I'm not even remembering. Because it was like a lifetime ago.
So you started playing around with it.
I remember.
Did you have to convince your first client to try it?
Someone brought me a watercolor tattoo. It was what's the title of the Da Vinci sketch of the man with like the
perfect man? Yeah.
Thank you.
That thing. That's not what it's called, but you know,
people
with
will
like
know the perfect ratios and stuff.
The perfect ratio man, yeah.
And someone brought in a tattoo that was done of this sketch with watercolor kind of overlaid behind it. And while I would never do this now, they wanted me to recreate this tattoo. Mm-hmm. And I was over the freaking moon to do it. And as soon as that hit my portfolio and hit Instagram and Facebook, and that started to bring in, not like immediately like a landslide of clients wanting it, but it gave me just one or two. Mm-hmm. And then I'd post those and reel in the next couple and the next couple. Yeah. You never forget your first though, right?
Yeah.
What was your first?
My first one was a hummingbird. Here on the chest, it was for a child that didn't come to be. And it was a really sweet, very soulful, very like tearful session. And I made it up. Like I hadn't seen anything like it, you know. So she was like, I just want it to be soft and like no black outline, just very, you know, very aerial and ephemeral. And so we did, and then that brought me, you know, more. Yeah.
Oh, when you find something that like is unique, done well, and just it's got the thing that like you je ne sais quoi, you couldn't put your finger on it, the thing that it draws people in. That authenticity, maybe unique authenticity. Before
there was an overabundance of everything on the internet.
Ooh, maybe, yeah.
You know, like it stood out because there was so little like it.
Yeah.
And now there's everything. And it's also everything in the way where you can't just get through it like, well, okay, there's everything, but here's everything in Oakland. Like, it's not like that. It's just a big, like, pot of ads.
Yeah. And you can't search multiple hashtags. Like, you couldn't search watercolor tattoo, Oakland artist, LGBT friendly. Like, you can't cluster all those. You have to do, like, individual searches for all of it and maybe see what overlaps. There's There are a couple, I think, tattoo, like find your next artist websites that are trying to improve on that.
I just would never use one of those myself, would you?
No, yes, that was exactly like, because you, of course, have to pay to be
Right.
listed on it. And then,
Yeah, and then it's like, well, how are you? So you're just going to put everybody who pays on there, you know?
how honest is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's, again, finding like within your genre and your area, finding the good stuff. Like finding not, someone who's paid, but they're working out of their garage and doing terrible watered down work with questionable sanitation practices.
Right. And clients don't always know, right?
Yeah. Ink Master in a weird way has helped with that, as like as much shit as we all probably talk about, like the TV shows, to show what makes a good tattoo, at least in terms of fundamentals.
Right. Is that something you would ever do? Have you tried?
I already did it.
Did you?
I was on Best Ink season 3.
Were you?
It was 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will look for you.
Don't.
I haven't seen them all.
No, it's way too much to watch them all. No, Best Ink.
What was it like?
It was fun. I was barely out of my apprenticeship during filming. I was maybe like a year as like.
I can't believe you were like that secure
artist.
to be like, I'm gonna go on TV.
I
That's
was
so scary.
So like if it were to happen now, and all of the like the seasons and everything had already come out, and I was offered this opportunity at 1 year out of an apprenticeship, I would have been like, no, let me get better and I'll reapply, because this isn't going to be like a once in a lifetime opportunity. But at the time, there was season 1 and 2 of Best Ink, and I was initially in the interviews for season 2. That's the one with Teresa Sharp, who won.
Oh, she's amazing.
Oh my God, so good. I'm really, really glad I didn't have to compete with her. I would have been the first one out. But yeah, I got called back for season 3, and Ink Master, which was like the twin brother sister, I guess, show. There was Best Ink, which was on the Oxygen Network, and Ink Master was on Spike, and they're owned by the same parent company. They just wanted to do one that was like Hannah Aitchison and Sabina Kelly and like Lovely and Pretty, and then like
female
Dave
centered.
Navarro. Yes.
Okay.
Then they had Dave Navarro
I never
and
saw Best of Ink. Now I want to watch it.
It was only the 3
Oliver
seasons.
Peck, yeah.
Thank you. Only the 3 seasons of that. So I was on the last one. I broke it.
That's why they never did it again. You were it.
Yeah.
So what was it like?
It was really fun. It reminded me a little bit of like, in a weird way, of being at summer camp.
Okay.
You wake up and you go downstairs and you have breakfast in like the hotel lobby, and they throw you on a van and they take you to do arts and crafts, and you have lunch and they throw you on a van again and take you to do more arts and crafts. And then you have like your, little critique or whatever, like around the campfire at night. And then you go to sleep and do it all again.
The arts and crafts were tattooing or
both the projects and the tattooing.
So it was very similar structure, like an Ink Master. They had
exact
an art project
same formula.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long did you last?
4 episodes.
Okay, that's a lot for that show.
For my patootie being a little like yearling artist.
Yeah. Do you remember the tattoos you did?
Okay. Can I lie and say no? I don't remember.
That's fine. Did you get paid for it?
Yes. It's not a lot. I don't know if it's changed, but there is like a daily reimbursement or daily compensation that they give you, and it would never have come close to paying rent.
Yeah, of course not.
So
they have to give you something, right?
They have to give you
like
something,
some minimum wage, whatever.
What did end up paying was right after that aired, I went from being booked mostly on the weekends, maybe a couple weeks out, to having my books overflowing for 10 months, I think, at the longest. So yeah, were I to do it all again, I totally would.
Do you feel like that's how you got the start of your traction?
Yeah, like absolutely. These days, like we were saying, apprentices are coming into a totally new world with like freaking rapid fire skills right out of the gate. And are leveraging social media, have that understanding to market themselves, which like when I was coming out of my apprenticeship was you weren't really marketing yourself until you were like already a name. How did you get to be a name? How did you get to have a style? Well, that's the mystery. You just do whatever walks in the door and see what sticks. And doing that show and getting the even like small amount of publicity after that, yeah, it was like rocket boosters on my back, which in turn brought me more work that was more in my style, which let me improve it more. And it was just like this wonderful snowballing waterfall of more work, better work, more work, better work, more work, better work for years. And now nobody remembers that I was on TV until now, which was great.
But so okay, so you were a year out of your apprenticeship. You already started to do your, I'm going to say it for the audience because I want them to get a visual. But we just discussed how Lisa Frank is not it. But just the visual.
Yeah.
That's super bright. Like, the ultra bright, oftentimes cute, not always necessarily cute, but cute, attractive, shiny style. Like that's what I want people to imagine when they think of your work.
Sparkly unicorns and like the stuff you had on your Trapper Keeper in the 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
So that style.
Stickers and Beanie Babies and Saturday morning cartoons.
For sure. So you started doing that already by that point.
I was definitely leaning that way.
Okay.
Yeah. And the more you do, the more...
Right, the more people will come to you.
Yeah.
But it started that early, like 9 years ago now?
Yeah. Yeah, about 9 years ago.
Do you ever do work that you're like, I'm happy to do this black and white, black and gray portrait, but I'm not going to put it on my website or like my portfolio? Do you ever do work that you don't put up?
No, not really. Usually the only reason it doesn't get posted is I've gotten a terrible photograph of it.
Fair.
But I'm in a super, super lucky place where among all of the consultation forms, the new inquiries that come to me, I can say yes to the stuff that I just know I'm going to knock out of the park for someone. And I can, decline and like refer to other artists for the stuff that just isn't 110% like, I'm going to nail this.
But what if you're like, I'd love to just play with some blockwork geometry?
Oh, I have a partner for that.
Okay.
I just tattoo my partner.
But you don't, okay. So you don't like, because that's my issue, with it, because I grew up doing everything.
Yeah.
And
whatever
so,
walks in the door, right?
Whatever walks in the door. And I still kind of do that. Like I'll maybe put my own spin on it, but it's still everything. And so a lack of niching is not serving me very well in like the marketing way. People don't really see my work as like one style. It's who don't know me. Yeah. People who know me will be like, oh yeah, that's still you.
It's consistent.
Yeah. But so I'm curious, like, so you only do your niche. You don't veer outside of it.
My Instagram, you take a look at, I think like in the last, 6 pictures, I've got 4 different styles that I do consistently.
Yeah.
But they are 4 fairly different styles. The Doctor Strange piece that I did is a direction that I really do want to move. And it's got elements of like a little bit of painterly, a little bit of that like graphic halftone, a little bit of style mashup going on.
Which I still associate with you.
Yeah.
All those things. Yeah.
But if you held that one up next to, I want to say it was from earlier this year, it was non-representational, just geometric shapes and color flow. You'd be like, of course that's not the same artist. What are you talking about?
Well, I probably would say it's the same artist. Yeah.
Right. It's for the uneducated. No, I don't want to say uneducated masses.
People
but
who just look at things and go,
just like at a glance.
There's pop culture references here and not over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like the animal portraits, the animal portraits have a lot of consistency across them. And oh my God, that's some of my favorite work to do. If anybody needs an animal portrait, call me.
People do often.
Like nature and galactic and stuff. Yeah.
What's your relationship with marketing and social media and those things?
Why would you hurt me with these questions?
People want to know.
Yeah. It's,
by people, I mean me. I want to know.
It's a part-time job, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes more than a part-time job. Did you want another part-time job?
No.
I didn't know. I don't want to know all this stuff about the algorithm. I don't want to know how to like leverage the times that I post. I don't want to know how to like leverage trending audio. I don't want to know this. I don't want to know how to edit a video.
But you do.
But I do. I'm cringing like so hard just thinking about how much time.
It's also funny because you'd be like, this is a set of skills I learned. you'd think it would add to my like set of skills, but every 12-year-old has better set of skills across this stuff than we do.
Yeah. My
which is just wild.
7-year-old will film videos of like these little pretend games and like toys talking to each other and do cutscenes with them.
Yeah. And they probably look amazing and they're hilarious. Yeah. You should get your 7-year-old to do your social media and just like pay them in candy.
Yeah. I'm using AI to help out with hashtags. That's been useful. AI has some really great uses and some really terrible ones. Oh God, is that a separate conversation for us?
No.
How are you feeling about it?
I think it's fine about the AI stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't, I'm afraid of it. So I haven't really, so I'm taking an SEO course.
Ooh, okay.
Which is really complicated. I thought it'd be easier. It's like a 6-month-long course. I think I have access to it forever, which is great because I am so behind. There's so much to it. And I was like, well, if I'm not going to become like a really famous on Instagram, then I might as well do this SEO course. Because I've been trying, I can't get past my 5,000 followers. Like, I've been trying for many years.
Do you boost posts?
No.
Try boosting posts.
I refuse to.
Okay.
This is why I refuse to. I've tried, and then when you stop paying for it, they'll just like cut you off completely.
I've not had that experience.
It's been my experience.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, like, because I'll like pay for a couple and then not, and then I'll just like my next post will just get like no reach at all.
The reach has been, and this is like so many industries are talking about it, that for small creators, the reach is down across the board. Reels were for a minute the way to go. I remember
now it's scrolly.
Now it's the side swipe
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's leaning a lot more towards the time that people spend looking at the damn thing on their screen and followed by the time they spend either interacting with the post directly or sending it to a friend, reposting it to their own stories. Commenting and liking now are much further down. They would rather have someone send it on to their followers in the algorithm ranking than give it a nice comment and say, I liked this, thumbs up.
Right. I mean, see, this is where I'm just going to let things just be as they are. So I've tried to study it. I have taken some real courses. I know, like, I have a friend who does, we made friends because of the podcast, but they are a Instagram marketing like guru. So I follow them and they're just like, keep posting. Don't worry about the algorithm. Just keep posting. Try different things. Keep posting.
Are people finding you?
I have enough clients. I'm fine. Like that's
so what are we, are we like quibbling over how many followers we have? Because you can just buy those.
You can buy those. So no, I don't want to buy followers, but I want to create some security for a future where there are even more tattoo artists, there's even more AI, there's even more bots, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm doing the SEO thing.
Yeah.
Because it's so much like local based and that shit's hard. But so one of the things I was going to tell you that I was like, so the teacher, she's having us do research keywords. And the way you do it is you get this like plugin for Google and then you like type the word in and it shows you how many people have searched that word in your area. Okay. And then it shows you like how it compares against other keywords in the same like genre in your area. And then it shows you how much somebody would pay to have that result pop up. Like it's got all this like really fine-tuned information that you would not find unless you knew how to find it.
Right.
With this like special plugin and you like pay a few bucks a month for it, whatever. So I typed in like queer tattoo artist Oakland. Apparently no one's searching it because it's like bigger numbers, right? So our niche of being like queer friendly is not a thing that you can like build a business upon. I'm still doing it, but
I was gonna say
people like don't find you based on that, and like I like typed in queer tattoo Oakland and found like diving swallow. That's it,
I know for Google, I'm able to put LGBT friendly in like my Google business profile. Yeah. For whatever that gets me.
Right. Yelp also, I think you can do like woman owned, LGBT owned, whatever.
I don't have a great answer for it. There are artists who are phenomenal, just phenomenal, like world-class booked out for ages that have a handful of thousand followers and get handful of thousands of likes on they get like very heavy interaction with their post, 100 comments, 2,000 likes, and that's with only having, say, like 6,000 followers. And then there are artists where they'll have 50,000 followers and their post will get maybe 100, 200 likes and interactions, a dozen or 2 dozen comments. So that, like, that doesn't necessarily, social media success doesn't necessarily relate to real world success and people actually reaching out to you and contacting you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not seeing it that way. It's just that there is a level of security in
being
searchable,
known
and being searchable, and seeing people, having people see your work.
Yeah.
Right, and people will, they go to your page and you have a lot of followers, they're more likely to follow you also. So they'll be like, this person's good. Like, many people think this person's good enough to follow. There's like all these psychological pieces in that.
Is there also that, like, I have found the diamond in the rough? They have.
Sometimes.
They don't.
That's
have
how I
any.
follow people.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, like, I'm like, okay, that's a way, but also just doing my own thing is a way. Making podcasts is a way. Making stickers is a way. Like, just
straight up word of mouth. One happy client. That's one happy client telling all of their friends. Like, it's you're putting your business card on people when you give them a great experience. Then, like, oh, who does your tattoos? And your name is the first one on their tongue when they're asked about all the artwork on their body.
So, yes. And also because we're still all servants of the algorithm. Do you do, I see you have some equipment. Is it for photos? Is that a filter? Like, do you do because your work is so bright, the glare is an issue. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I know how it is.
CPL
What do you
filter.
do?
Yeah.
You do those kinds of things.
Do you want me to show you?
Yeah, I want to
Okay,
see.
so if I talk loud, it'll still be this is...
At this point, Amy walked me over to where she had her
fluorescents are weirdly yellow.
set up for photography.
And the film that's on there is a polarizing film.
And I just got so very excited to play with her stuff and look at her filters. And it's definitely helpful because I don't have coworkers in the way that other people do. And so I have to do my own research and take my own chances when I buy new equipment. So being able to talk to other people who've been tattooing for a long time and who have new to me toys that will make all of our lives easier and will make showing off my accomplishments that much better and easier. I'm grateful. Do you have other photography, anything or any other, like, when you edit your stuff, like, do you have other ways that you specifically do it for your specific style?
I try to photograph people on my white backdrop here. Or if it's, if I'm someplace that's like busier, I will just tone down the background, down to like black or dark blue or something, just so the work really pops. I try to stay away from doing like over photoshopping or like doing a weird like green screen cutout around just the tattoo. I feel like, and maybe am I old? Like, that just seems like, oh, if you photoshopped it that much, you've probably doctored the tattoo itself. It just seems a little disingenuous.
I mean, you can tell if a tattoo is doctored.
Yeah.
I feel like we can tell. If it's like just the basic little bit to just make it look how it does in life.
Yeah.
Or if it's like beyond.
Yeah, you've got like the perfect Procreate micron outline around your tattoo.
Right, and there's like smoothing tools.
Yeah, that surface blur, that like saran wrap look to it.
Do you follow Truth Tattoo Fairy?
I do. Yeah. I love that page.
Yeah, because sometimes clients will bring that shit in and be like, I want to, this is one of my inspirations, and you'll be like, that's not even a tattoo. And that one is photoshopped. Like, that's not a tattoo, and that's... Yeah.
Have you gotten AI tattoos brought to you as references yet?
Not yet. No. But I'm I feel like that's coming.
It is coming.
The whole thing with, I am concerned about just designs, like people grabbing. I mean, we know that we don't tattoo designs brought in. Like most of us don't do that, and clients will still try. But I'm also concerned about other tattoo artists using AI to create their artwork for them.
It's I mean, it's a lot like using, an existing tattoo as your design inspiration. Okay, your client feels, say it's like a tiger face. I just posted in my wanna-dos a design of a tiger. Okay, so we've got this, like, it's an existing tattoo or it's an AI tattoo. What about this speaks most to you? We've got, you want the tiger face in profile? Cool, got you. We'll, get a stock photo reference or something, the color palette, the way it's composed on a body. And that can change, like they have something on someone's left arm and they want it going on their right leg. Now you have to have a totally different tattoo. So using AI in the same way as like reference collecting, like just kind of add it to your design arsenal, because none of it is really usable as is.
Right.
For now. I have had this weird, let me know if you've like found the same. I went to Google and looking for, it was a particular flower. And I put in plumeria flower stock image references, because those give you like high resolution and they're nice and clean and well photographed. And in my stock reference search started to pop up blatant AI photographs where the flower had like too many petals or clearly the wrong leaves. And like, luckily I know enough about it to like not grab those pictures, but they're starting to infiltrate like our very real photograph collection of references.
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And I was thinking about that because you see them looking very soft. They have this very soft quality to them. But I feel like they're going to start to look realistic, like a photograph. And maybe they already do.
Yeah.
But
and
so far I can
like
tell because they're like, that have that very soft feel.
It's too brushy.
I feel like I didn't touch upon any of like your personal life, and that's fine. You don't have to go there.
I'm an open book.
How do you feel like you're, like, I don't know any of your labels, how you identify, but if you want to talk about that and how that's informed your life as a tattoo artist. And when you go to conventions and all that stuff, socially.
Within tattooing, I think the biggest identifier that has presented interesting hiccups along the way is just like being a woman presenting femme. That, oh man, I've had countless experiences sitting up at the counter of a walk-in shop, greeting the client that walks in, like I'm up in rotation, greeting the client that walks in, talking to them about the design, giving them a quote, doing like a little doodle on some printer paper just to get us going. They say yes, we get their ID, and I say, okay, cool, I'm gonna head on back and get set up for you. Oh, you're doing the tattoo?
Like, why would you go through that whole process with them?
I didn't know if you were just like, they just assume counter girl.
Yeah.
I apprenticed at a studio that had female artists available, like in the window. It was that big
in
of a
the window.
thing. Yeah, it was like on one of the like the placards of like black and gray color tattoo, women artists available, piercings available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a menu.
Yeah. It's no studio is like that now. But it was then. And I would say now with like more information that I'm pansexual, but I always default to bisexual. I think that's more like a generational thing of like, yeah, everyone's really hot. Am I blushing? Came out in, God, middle school, maybe like 7th or 8th grade. I just knew that everybody was hot. It was like, it didn't, none of that really mattered to me. That has been, I would say, putting myself out there in that way and being part of the queer community. It brings me people like me, people who are comfortable confiding in me, even if they're not, out in the world, they'll, in our conversations and they're in my chair, we'll have some like something to relate over. I found a lot of my clients, like, that's a draw. I am very happy to say that my sexuality has not presented any speed bumps in the industry, but at the same time, I'm white passing. I present very femme. It's that tempers a lot of it, because it's like, well, who doesn't love lesbian porn?
Well, there's some hot lady privilege right there.
Thank you.
Well, but
yes. Yes.
I mean, I feel also like in the tattoo industry, on things like on TV, you'll see amazing tattooists, but also have themselves also be hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they do sometimes allow people who look more average into the TV world, but not very often. And they usually tend to not stay very long.
Yeah.
I feel like it's an issue. Like, it's a very lookist industry, especially for women.
At that level.
I mean, men can look
100%.
however. No one gives a shit how they
Yeah.
look.
That like, yeah. I don't want to like body and skin and shape shame the men, but they can get away with a lot.
Yeah, no one gives a shit how they look.
Yeah.
It's like, if they're amazing at tattooing, that's all people care about. But women have to be hot while being great at tattooing. If Ryan Ashley and Kelly Doty were reversed in looks, Kelly Doty would have won Ink Master. 100%.
I love Kelly so much.
She is one of the most amazing tattoos. Like,
so
her work
talented.
is so perfect.
And like, personality just like comes shining through with like, yes, I'm accessible and I'm weird and talk to me and I want to like invite you to be weird with me. It just like, it brings out that energy.
I mean, all the women were amazing on that season. Ryan Ashley's amazing too.
Mm-hmm. I've seen her work like in person, healed up. It's good.
But like, if you look at them really closely, Kelly Doty's better.
I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very different work.
Very different. But just quality-wise, like precision-wise,
yeah,
it's better. And she can do anything. She chooses to do her new school shit, but she can do anything.
Absolutely. That is really shitty to see and not see in the like bigger mainstream media, the casting choices of all of that. The freaking, oh my gosh, another separate conversation that'll be like a total detour. The Inked magazine cover girl thing, which I have like a laundry list of shit to talk about what they're doing, taking advantage of all of the free content. Like, the amount of free advertising that they are getting from these women and femmes pushing for more votes. They are getting so much more free advertising from that than they pay anyone ever. And I'm livid about it. Do not give these motherfuckers free content. Make your money. Get on OnlyFans. Anyways.
Yes.
Jesus. I have feelings. I have big feelings about this. Similar to Suicide Girls and the way they've like farmed the hopefuls and had them basically drive all of their marketing for free with like this, like, you might be the one a month. And then they're releasing like 3 and 4 sets an hour that you're supposed to like scramble for.
Were you part of that community?
I was right at the turn of when they were doing yes or no, you send it into their team, and they would accept you or not as a suicide girl. And when they turned it into the hopeful rat race. And I took one look at it and said, well, you got my one set. You're not getting any more.
That's it. Also, I was always like, what's up with that name?
Suicide Girls?
I mean, I know what they meant to do, but I was still like, why? There's enough fucking depressed, women, femmes out there. Like,
I'm an elder emo. Yeah. Like, I never got the hair. I don't have, like, the right face shape for that makeup. Rower. But man, did I just give it my all to try. Oh my gosh. We were... Okay, I was down that rabbit hole to circle back to Unconventional Beauties. Was that where we were?
Well, just that there's a looks privilege in the tattoo industry for a woman.
Yes. I think that is very, very true in like the big media. But I do know personally, totally like see them on the street, everybody, beautiful women and queers who are crushing it business wise. They're not going to get the same mainstream like TV production marketing.
Right.
Not today, not this year. Maybe in our lifetimes it'll even out.
We're also so far away from being like mainstream media, and now it's all online.
Yeah.
And people like TikTok doesn't care how you look.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It
like
is.
Seeing people.
Exactly.
I'll see like a video, somebody being like really saying something really great, really smart, and the comments are fine. They're not like, you're ugly, shut up, like how it used to be.
It's the kids are right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're moving towards that, I think.
I think so too. And hopefully with like the TikToks, the Instagram, the kind of like, you know, OnlyFans, the independent ability to market yourself however you choose, that is going to make it better for everybody.
Yeah, the good and the bad of it, right? Like on one hand, more people get more voices. On the other hand, we're all just things now. Like we're all just like our attention is what's being sold. Yeah.
I ask people, okay, cool. Are you comfortable with me doing some photo, video for social media content?
Oh, you ask. That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, like I've got my security camera in here going, but like that doesn't save anything. But, and most people are totally fine with it. It's in my consent form and whatever. But I like to ask every time. But it's content. It's my portfolio. I want to show like the best of the best. And if that means, you know, I'm spending 2 or 3 weeks doing nothing but chipping away session by session at a couple finished products, then I post them and that's great. And my portfolio is going to look wonderful. But I have to have content in between those like finished portfolio pieces. And that's weird to me.
Yeah.
Still.
You have to keep going.
Yeah.
Because if you drop it, it'll drop you.
Yeah. So now I'm filming stickers and I'm taking video of like gifts that clients have made me to like say thank you over the holiday season. And I've got all that like lined up and ready to preview for the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're very creative in your social media approach.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I admire.
I'm saving tons of things that as I scroll and I see something that I'm interested in, I save it. I say, I want to do that with my stuff, and just give myself like a constant to-do list of kind of like there's tattoo inspiration. There's now content inspiration. I threw up in my mouth a little bit saying that just now, and I'm sorry.
It's okay. I hear that. I know I have the same thing. I have stuff saved that I'm like, I could work with that format.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. Well, I'll wrap us up here. I so appreciate your time.
No, it's been so wonderful talking to you.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about your experiences as well.
We can do this again. And I'm like, you probably have ideas for the podcast.
I might.
You might.
I might.
And you might have friends that I could interview.
Ooh, almost certainly, yes. Do you like to do in person, or are you down with like
I'm down with online
video calls and stuff? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Then yeah, I've got a few.
Tell the people where they can find you, and I will link all that too, but say it, and your name, your username on Instagram, and what kind of work that you are. Really call in some work that you'd love to do this coming year. Okay.
God, I hope I can remember that list. I am Amy Zager. You can find me at www.amyzager.com. That's Z like a zebra. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, an assortment of social medias. All of that you will find me at Painterly Fiend, Fiend. I do vibrant color, watercolor inspired work, pet portraits, and pop culture, comic book art, Marvel Cinematic Universe art, Star Wars, Saturday morning cartoons, bring me Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Lisa Frank, Lucky Charms, and fur babies. I love it all.
Darlings, I hope you enjoyed this episode with Amy. I hope you felt like a little fly on the wall of two artists talking shop, and it was fun for you. I am ready to wrap this year up almost. Next week, look out for an episode where I recount all of the ways in which this year was good, because many things were not good. But this year was also good in certain ways, and there were things accomplished and there were things done that I'm proud of. So I'm going to recount those out loud for you, as a little piece of inspiration for you to look back at your year and see the things about your year that were good and helpful and were accomplishments. I love you very much. Thanks for listening. Please review, subscribe. It really helps us out. It's, I say it every time, it's true. There have not been any new reviews. So if you would be the next new review, I would love it so much. I'd love it forever. Okay. Until next week.